Welcome to Mind Your Business with Cyrus Webb
and Earl Hall.
There are things every business owner talks about.
These two business owners and friends
talk about those things and so much more.
Get ready to laugh and learn. Mind Your Business starts now. Hello, everyone. Welcome into our show, Mind Your Business. I'm co-host Earl Hall, and we're going to have my co-host Cyrus Webb coming in here in just a moment. A lot of great things happening. We got some news coming up, so you want to make sure that you're a part of this live broadcast each and every week. We're here for you live every Sunday, this time, 5 p.m. Central, p.m. Eastern, with myself, Earl Hall, and Cyrus Webb. Welcome in, Ashley. How you doing? C.D. Ward, welcome in. Tasha's welcome in. Hey, there's Cyrus. How you doing, my friend? How are you doing today?
Doing amazing. What about yourself?
I am doing amazing as well. We're twinning. All right.
Good deal. Good deal.
Now, at some point, we may have on the same color shirt. So, but we'll see how that goes. But I'll always have my button up, and you'll always have your T-shirt. So,
well, hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is. We've got a very interesting topic to talk about today. It's one that Cyrus and I have talked about more than a few times and come to some agreement and some disagreement on some of these things as well. But I want to talk to the entrepreneurs and the business owners out there, in particular about paid ads, online or organic. Like, which do you prefer as far as marketing goes, or is it a combination of the two? The school of thought that I've come from before is that paid ads kind of help you to go fast if you know how to do them. Because it is something, if you're like me, in the past, you can spend a lot of money on and get absolutely no return on. And it comes down to actually understanding what that is all about. The thoughts that I have now after years of kind of doing this is more along the lines of, if you get the organic right, you can then get the paid ads right. If you know how to set it up, there's some stuff, if you've never seen that back end of Facebook, above and beyond just boosting a post, because some people, that's what they do. They boost posts.
And get lots of success from that. I just thought I'd throw that out there.
You mentioned, it was so funny, you mentioned something last week about knowing a dog when it gets hit. We used to say when I was little and lived in the country, well, I still live in the country, but on the farm, I should say, you always have a pack of dogs. And we would have fun as cousins. We would just throw a rock into the pack of dogs, just throw it up in the air, boom. You knew the one it hit because it started biting all the other dogs. Kind of like how I threw that up about, some people do boosting of posts. But anyway, but you have no dog in this fight.
That's right. I'm very organic around here. Very organic.
Yes, Cyrus, you have built something amazing. And it has really been centered around the organic growth, but obviously that's been over almost 20 years at this point that you've been doing that organic growth. And it's one of those things that I've come to understand. Organic growth is the most stable growth if you're consistent with what it is that you're doing.
Right.
So there are reasons to go to a paid ad model, but it depends on the business owner, their kind of temperament for risk, because there's a lot of testing that goes on initially. It's not like you just put out an ad and that ad just works, unless you're extremely lucky. But I've never known anyone to just put money on an ad. And I'm not talking about $10 or something. I'm talking about $100 or more a day spent on an ad, like for a serious person that's just diving in and wants to do it but knows what they're doing. You can make a very significant return on paid ads. And I know that myself personally because of what it is that I've done over the past about 2 years. You can spend a lot of money on ads, and basically $1 in can equal $3, $4, $5 back with paid ads. Organic ads, you know much more about that. So why don't you speak to the organic side of this whole thing, and I can see if I agree or not.
Well, whether he agrees or not, Yeah, whether he agrees does not mean it's not right. But I want to say something about what you just said though about the
Yeah.
paid. Now that is not my area. That is Earl's area when it comes to paid. But I do think it's an interesting thing because I'm a person who studies. I study. That's just part of my MO.
Yeah.
And what I've always told people is that it goes down to me, Earl, to a fundamental thing. The reason why anyone does anything should be is to reach their preferred audience. So if you are, so it goes back to me what the intent is for even paying for an ad. I go back to my olden days when I was, paying for radio spots and TV spots, right? You were hoping to be able to reach the audience for what you were doing, to be able to get them to come to what you were having, right? The same is very true today when it comes to social media.
Very true.
I think the problem becomes, Earl, the reason why I have stayed organic versus paid is that you're then asking an algorithm to find your ideal audience for you.
Yes.
When really the best person to find that audience is you. You're the best person to find that audience. So really, wow, you're almost trying to shut the responsibility of going out there and getting your audience. You want the audience to just come to you based on this, on what you're putting out there. Now, the networks do it. There was a show that I fell in love with that spent a ton of money on ads. The show was canceled after one season, because they spent this money. They got people to watch the trailer and the promo, right, but it was not something the audience wanted. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they spend all that money, and because regardless of who it is, you can tell if it says, advertisement or whatever. I mean, so I've always felt like, again, if you build it, they will come. That's kind of always been that's been my personal thing. Yeah. So for me, it's been about showing up consistently, showing people who I am, what I do, and knowing that I can build that audience by doing that rather than thinking I can just put something out there with some money, and the people are going to come. Because, Earl, you and I have talked about this, regardless of how much money you spend, and I know you said, the past couple of years you've been able to see how there can be a return. I totally agree with that part. But I think the other side of that is just because people watch something, just because people like something, does not mean they're going to end up being your customer.
No, it does not. And running an ad, with the algorithm involved, yes, the potential is there to make a tremendous amount of money.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that most of the people that see that advertisement, even when the targeting is quote unquote perfect, most of those people will never do business with you. Mm-hmm. So you get a portion of that audience that you're able to, like, if you're selling something, get them on the phone, do a strategy session, whatever it is, and sell them into your product. But that's a small piece of the pie, right, when it comes to the whole. Mm-hmm. And that's a quicker way. Let's say if you're running on all 8 cylinders, right? And it's a longer way if you do it organic, but the organic is, like I said earlier, going to be more stable because usually they followed you for a tremendous amount of time. They trust you. They've gotten to know you. Whereas if you get somebody from an algorithm that clicks on your ad and then gets on the phone with you, well, they don't know you yet. Mm-hmm. So now it's almost like you have to prove yourself, right, to them with that. Now it could be, because this happens as well, if you're running an ad consistently over months and, days, weeks, months, people will see the ad, they may click on it, but then they'll go to try and find your YouTube channel. They'll go and look at what you have on Facebook because they want to learn about you before they take that next step of booking a call with you. Yeah. Yeah. So what happens is, in that case, they don't become a customer immediately, but if your content is good, they'll watch that content. And I've talked to people, well, how long have you been following, the content? Oh, about 3 months now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 6 months now. Right. So there's all these little things that happen. But I think, like, if you're a person like me, you want that instant gratification. Right. And when that doesn't happen, you can kind of get disappointed. But I think one of the biggest, there's a couple of mistakes that people make with paid ads. One, they don't know what they're doing. they're guessing because they really don't know. And that is really a part of it. You've got to test things out before you know if they work or not. So that's going to cost you money. The learning phase is going to cost you money. But even with that, with the paid ads, if you're not running them, if you're scared, you know, who was it that said scared money don't make money? That rap group or whatever, hip hop group? Wu-Tang Clan, that's who did it. All right, scared money don't make money. And that's kind of true in this, because if you're trying to just dip your toe in, well, I'll just spend $5. You're not going to get the data you need. You can spend the $5, but it's going to take you 3 months to get the data. Or you can spend $100 and get the data in a week, right? So there's all these different nuances that come with this that does make paid ads, or trying to build your business running paid ads, it can be scary.
Yeah. Hello to you, Melissa. Good to be able to see you. And appreciate you all coming in. So, Earl, there's another thing, though, that when you were talking, I thought about, and again, it goes to Earl and I have a different mindset. It may surprise people to know this.
Oh, wow.
We think differently. Earl, I honestly think it's a mistake to run paid ads to sell something.
Wow.
For the very reason.
But most people are doing it.
well, let me tell you why, and then you can feel free to tell me where I'm wrong in it. But because of what you just said, and this is why I do things the way I do it. Because, like what you just said, when you're running a paid ad, that is reaching a brand new audience.
Yes.
Do you want the first thing that brand new audience sees is you trying to sell them something? Or do you want it to be something that's value-based, something that gives them information, it's an introduction to who you are, or show value that then will then make them want to click that like, to follow, and to get a rapport, and then become a customer. That's what I think is helped. Yeah, that's what has helped me. When I even boost a post, it's not a paid thing that I'm boosting. Right now I'm boosting a reel that has nothing to do with anything I'm selling. It's just a showcase, you know, some books.
Now, what you're saying, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so what you're saying is absolutely true, but most people don't follow the line of, because I do agree, you don't want to immediately sell. That's where you may not understand retargeting. So when you target initially, if you know what you're doing, especially on Facebook ads in particular, you're going to put an ad up that does offer something for free. It does offer value. It does go check out this YouTube video. It does do all of that. So when you start getting those clicks, you know, you don't use landing pages or anything like that either, but you put a pixel on a page, and anyone that hits that page from pushing on that ad, now Facebook owns them, which means you own them. And you can then retarget in a month, 2 months, 3 months down the road. I want to target these people that hit this landing page for this free offer. Now I want to target them with an offer, an actual something paid. So during that time between the free and the paid, you've been able to supply them with more and more and more value. So by the time they get hit with that paid ad, it should be, oh, well, let me check this out. But the mistake, that is another mistake. And I'm glad you brought that up, because some people will just try and go for the sale. Right out of the gate, nobody knows who you are. They've never seen you. I'm just keep scrolling. I'm just scrolling. But if I see someone that I've been following, wait a minute, what is this? I'll at least stop to look. Yeah.
Marva, hello to you, Marva. Marva says, I did paid ads on Facebook for several weeks, not aware of any book sales from it. And Marva, that's the thing. And I appreciate you being with us too. Carrie, hello to you as well. You know, I think the thing is with this, for me, everything's about intent, right?
Yes.
You know, and that's my model. That's my model. And again, even though Earl and I may have a slight variation in the way we look at this, I'm not saying either one is right or wrong. Earl has found what works for him. I found what works for me, and that's what I've doubled down on, and that's what he's doubled down on. Earl is very good at ads and being able to do that in the targeting, and he loses me when he starts talking about pixels and all of that. I just roll my eyes. Normally he can't see me, and I'm rolling my eyes normally when I'm on the phone with him, and he's talking. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But now he can see me, so now he knows exactly when he starts bringing this up. I'm sitting here thinking,
that's because, like, if you were trying to use that strategy, it's like there's a whole strategy behind this. And Uma Faisal, we're talking about paid ads versus organic. traffic and stuff like that. All right. And by the way, he just said follow you. Make sure that you do this pull down here. You can follow Cyrus and I. If you're not following one of us, make sure you do. And then also follow everyone that's participating in the show as well. So when you're talking about doing these things with the paid ads, there are so many mistakes that people make. And the biggest one that I've seen when I talk to people, well, I thought if I spent all this money on ads, I would make a lot of money. No. But when you find an ad, oh my gosh, when you've run ads for as long as we've run ads, what happens is Facebook gets better and better at targeting the people for your ad. And when you get an ad that hits, oh my goodness, but you will not hit it out of the gate.
Yeah.
It will take, even if you know what you're doing, it's going to take you 3 to 4 weeks to really dial it in and get it right, because Facebook has a job to do. Facebook, is the one that's going out and trying to find the folks, for you with that. And it's a quicker way to find the folks, but then there's, again, strategies behind all of this, like I was talking about, and you were talking about. Why would you the first thing you want someone to see is buy my stuff?
Yeah.
That's not what you want to see. And whoever said they ran Facebook ads for their books, I can tell you this. I've never ran Facebook ads for my books, but I have run ads on Amazon for my book that worked well when I ran them directly on Amazon to a targeted audience for that. It worked better for me than running Facebook ads.
Melissa says, I boosted many times, reached people, but haven't made any money. And see, I think this is and this is where I think, my mind doesn't always go to money. And see, I think this is the difference too in the intent of why you're doing it. What I get so impressed and excited by, I see a lot of these sponsored posts on Instagram, since we're on this platform, of people with introductory videos, basically about who they are, and that makes me follow them, because I'm like, oh wow, that's someone I'm interested in. Now, that sponsored post was them trying to sell me something, I have no idea who you are, no, I would not be following them. I wouldn't be looking at it. But I think that's the whole thing. I think sometimes, and Earl has heard me talk about this, Melissa's heard me talk about it too, I think people need to go back to business being a relationship. And it's not like whatever you want, I'm keeping this PG because I'm a conservative guy myself, but whatever your intent is for the relationship, you don't just come out the first time and say, this is what you want. You want to be able to get to know the person. You want them to be able to get to know you. You build a rapport.
Well,
so I'll say marriage, because that's a traditional thing. If you're trying to find a mate, that's what I can say to be safe.
If you're trying to find a mate.
Yeah, if you're trying to find a mate.
Husband, wife,
there's a process. You get to know the person. You don't just go in and say, will you marry me? I mean, and so I think that's the thing. I think so many times people haven't built the rapport yet. Before they go in for the ask. You know what I'm saying?
I think that is a really big problem nowadays. It is, because you see it a lot. Now, I haven't seen the post you're talking about, like on IG, where, it's a sponsored post to say, just, watch this or whatever. Or maybe I just haven't paid attention. But it is about the relationship now, because I think all of us are jaded. Because, I mean, come on, we see ads all the time. Yeah. You cannot get around an ad.
Right.
Even on your phone, as far as text messages, I don't know if the robot or the insect gets messages like that, but I know the professional iPhone users, we get text messages from time to time.
Well, they have to pay for those phones. So yes, of course, they're running ads so they can pay for the phones. But they got a mortgage to get.
We're so inundated with ads that we've become numb in many cases to them. When ads particularly work is really when someone is in a lot of pain. And I'm not talking about physical pain. I'm talking about, I can't figure this out. I can't figure this out. And so then they go searching for things. And then they're online searching, they're on Google searching for the answer to this question. And that's why you get hit with a particular ad. If you're on Google, I'm just going to use this as an example. If you're on Google and you type in relationship problems, well, guess what? You click on that and you go to that page is going to have a pixel, either a Google pixel or a Facebook pixel. Now, when you go on Facebook, you're going to see ads for relationships. That is how all this works. Cyrus and I have had conversations and about something, and the next day, that thing we talked about actually comes up, right? And it's like, how did that happen? You know, it's like all this stuff. Umar Fazil, I don't know how to pronounce that, but excuse me, 3. Earl Studio, so you said that ads benefited you more on Amazon than Facebook. No, I ran an ad on Amazon for Steps to Voiceover Success, my very first book. And I had success running that ad, but that was because I already knew how to run ads on Facebook. I'm not telling you to run an ad. I'm just telling you my experience with an ad, because I don't want you coming back here. Oh, I ran an ad and Earl told me he ran one. Well, if you do it and it didn't work, then it's just that you don't know how to do it yet. That's all. You know,
he also says, I'm glad that that's one of my peeps. He also said he thinks ads on Instagram are more interesting or convincing, because I mostly open the ads on IG and end up buying stuff. You know, and I think that's what I think.
I do too.
I think there's a lot of people on Instagram are doing it right. And because a lot of times because Instagram, will give you selections as if you want to have them drive traffic to your profile, send them to an external link, you know what I'm saying? Or just to basically to like your page. Yeah. And so I like the fact a lot of them are using that introductory, but then if you click, it takes you to find out more information about them and what they offer. So I think that to me is much better than the ad being buy my course.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I saw just yesterday, I was in it over my head. I told my wife I want a pit bull. And a pit bull is a shaver for your head. And
okay.
I've seen them all the time, but I keep seeing the ads in my feed, but that's because at some point I probably clicked on it. And it's expensive. It's like $100. But it's like you just shave your head with it, and it's supposed to be good. And people are talking about it. And I've wanted one for over a year, but I've never got one. So I just told my wife, I was looking at the ad, this is what I want for my Christmas present. Is this. I probably won't get it, but I'll probably have to wind up buying it myself. But it's interesting that happened on Instagram, and we're talking about Instagram right now. And I have bought things off of Instagram. My daughter has bought things off of Instagram. I don't know that my wife has, but there's been more than a few things that I've bought off of Instagram.
King Pop, the popcorn company that I'm excited to share, I discovered them on Instagram, an Instagram ad. And so being able to connect with them, and they have some great flavor, especially the cookies and cream. Oh my goodness.
Is this an ad you're doing now?
No, this is just me sharing my thoughts. This is me sharing my thoughts, my honest, unbiased thoughts about King Pop. You can follow them here on Instagram. But they have this cookies and cream ice cream that has real cookies and cream in with the popcorn, Earl.
Oh my.
Yeah. Okay. That's I'll put it in the comments, y'all, so y'all can just
there you go. You just click the link, you get your popcorn fix. But I mean, the whole thing between the paid ads and the organic, I do think, with what I know about both, it's like they go together. Because one of the things I realize now, if you get the organic right, then it can translate into a right paid ad. Because now you know that people will engage. If people are engaging with a post that's organic, then that same post can be put into an ad format because it's been proven. And I'm not talking about 2 likes. You know what I'm saying? But physically, actually proven. You've got real comments on it. You've got, engagement on that post, and you've gotten a lot of traction with it. And if you can do that right, then you can at least write an ad or use that same organic ad. Because that's actually what we do a lot. We create an organic ad, see if it works. If it blows up, boom, that's a paid ad. Because we know the engagement is there. And then we have several different targets, whether they're new people, whether they're people that have been engaged with us, or whether people that have bought from us. So those are 3 different categories that we can put ads in. People may say, well, why would you run an ad to someone you've already sold to? Because it's an upsell and it's easier to sell people that have already bought from you. If
Right.
they've bought from you, it is 100 times easier to sell them something higher than it would be to get a new customer.
Right. Marva brings up a really good point. And Marva, this is what I try to tell people. I'm so glad you said this, because I tell people all the time when people talk about I don't need to advertise, people are just going to find me. If NBC and all these other brands are advertising, Marva says, I do believe that social media ads work, or the big companies would not be paying millions on
Exactly.
them. The key seems to be working with the real experts to get it going. And Marva, that's the thing. And finding out people like me, I'm not the person to talk to about paid ads. Earl would be the person to talk to about paid ads, not only because he's done it, but he's found success in it. And I think that's the key. I think a lot of times we go to somebody who does not have the expertise. I don't have the expertise when it comes to paid ads. That's not my thing. But Earl does. But and I think that's the thing too. It's like, so I would never say they don't work. It's just not the model I follow for myself to reach and grow my audience. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. That's just not the model that I do. But you also notice Earl said admittedly himself, he's into a quicker way. I'm more in the slow burn because I want to get to know the people. I'm not a person that just go and follow people. I like to get to have a rapport with people, and so I'm more about relationship building from the beginning. That's why I said, to me, it's like a relationship. I'm not just going to jump in with everybody. I don't do that. It's not who I am.
Well,
Earl is more free with his love than I
ah,
am. I, on the other hand, I'm more conservative in mind. So, I want to get to let's slow this down. Let's get to know each other. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of know more about if I'm even someone you should be following. And that's the other thing, Earl, I think it goes to consistency, something we've talked about before in this season, because they may have seen one post,
right.
but may not be another post like that. You know what I'm saying? On your page. That just happened to be one thing that you were doing at that time. They may be, wait a minute, this isn't what I followed this person for. You know what I'm saying? So then it's like you not only lose their interest, but when it comes to you posting something else about that, they won't see it because they're already gone.
Yeah, it's a scary thing right now in the meta world sometimes. There's some clients that we get that are brand new to this whole thing, and they start off and Facebook shuts them down. Mm-hmm. Literally shuts down their accounts. And then they have to go in and upload like their driver's license or whatever so that Facebook knows they're a real person and get back in. And then they get it turned back on after about a week, and then a month goes by and Facebook decides to shut them down again. No one knows why. But here's the thing. Unless you're spending big money, and I'll explain what big money means in a minute, on Facebook, you have no way of communicating to Facebook. If you're shut down, you're shut down. And you'll never know why in this ad space that I'm talking about. But when you're spending big money, like for instance, the company that I'm with, which is AJC, we literally spend around $80,000 to $100,000 a month on ads every month. All right. And we have someone we literally can talk to at Facebook because we're spending that amount of money. And we've been spending that amount of money for years. Even our clients, and this is where we'll get into scary numbers, like the clients we have, which are in the financial services arena, they're running ads, they're spending $20,000 a month, but they're making $100,000. That's when you know what you're doing. And that's why we continue to get the clients we get in the financial services industry, because they're confident to know if I put this money in, if I do the work, then I can make this money on the other end. And it's been shown consistently. And when I use those big numbers like 20K or 100K, I know to a lot of people that sounds just like, wow. It's like, that's not even something I can think about. And it's not something anyone should think about, but it's something that you can grow to. But you have to realize you're going to have to spend money if these people are spending 20% of what they make, basically, on ads. Spending 20 to make 100, which means they keep 80. Is basically how it goes every month. And those numbers are astronomical for me, to even talk about. But usually people are talking about $5 boosted posts, $10 boosted posts, something around that area. But when I talk about seriously marketing and selling on Facebook, running Facebook ads, the people like the big organizations that I think, who was it, Marva that mentioned, are paying millions. Yeah, that was Marva. It's real and it happens, but you don't get there overnight.
And it also is still a gamble.
It is still a gamble.
Yeah.
You know.
Because like I mentioned, like the show, The End Game, they spent all this marketing money on social media, and it still was canceled after one season. You know, I mean, so that's the thing. It's like, you know, that's just the thing. So, you know, it's all about counting the cost, literally.
Yes.
Yeah. When it comes to what is the best use of your money, and again, knowing the reason why. And I go back to that because, again, if you're doing it just to sell, and that's going to always be an anomaly, you don't know that's going to happen, then is it really a missed opportunity instead of just trying to introduce who you are, what it is you do, and how you can be of service?
Yeah, it's interesting what Marvin just said. People tend to hold people with a big following and high esteem. A big following does not always equate money. A big following does not mean that. You can have a much smaller following, but they're more loyal and they're more deep into what it is that you're doing. And we know people that have big numbers. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
does not matter at the end of the day. And how those people get those followers, that's a whole nother thing. Because back in the day, people used to just buy followers, you know, and that's fake. They're trying to shut that down. And there's all these bots that are out there. So don't let the numbers fool you, you know, and don't let the pictures beside the Lamborghinis fool you either.
Yeah. So that's not your Lamborghini, Earl, that we seen. I'm just saying.
I can affirm that is not my Lamborghini. Wherever you saw it, it is not mine. With that, well, I mean, that just went off.
Oh wow. All right.
So, and it wouldn't go on. It was like Amber Alert. I was like, okay, are they going to kick me off of Instagram? But oh, Marvin, you are more than welcome. I love our discussions that we've been having. This is, what show is this? Number 7.
Yeah, we're about to wrap up. We're about to wrap up our first season. This is show number 8. Okay. Show number 8 is today. We have 3 more shows in this season, which is hard to believe.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see if we get renewed.
We'll see. Yeah, I'll see if I want to keep doing this with this guy.
Wait a minute, you'll see if you want to.
I'll see. I'm up top. This week. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I want to thank everyone, as well as I know Cyrus does too, for being here with us and supporting us. You know, and watching the show. We want to bring you value and also put a smile on your face at the same time, which I'm sure that we do. We are friends, have been friends for over a decade now, and respect each other business-wise as well. Cyrus likes to give advice, and I just take it. And that's kind of...
I like to take advice, too. People don't normally give it to me. I have to ask it. It's like pulling teeth from me. I say, tell me something. What do I need to do?
So I want to make sure you guys go ahead and press this little pull down here. Make sure you're following Cyrus and I, and make sure you're following the other people that are watching the show as well. And let's continue to build this community. Cyrus, any parting words?
No, just thank you all so much. Again, I mean, to me, it all goes back to the why when it comes to this topic we talked about today. But really, all the topics is, you know, count the cost. Count the cost. Why are you doing what you're doing? And what do you want from it? Are you being realistic in what you want from whatever it is that you're doing when it comes to your business? I think that way you can not only, I think, measure your expectations, but also not lose your joy.
Absolutely. Well, once again, everyone, thank you for watching this episode of Mind Your Business with Earl Hall and Cyrus Webb. He's down there. And we're going to be back here for you like we are always next Sunday, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you have a great week and be blessed. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Y'all take care.